Okay, so apparently my camera battery didn't charge all the way, so we're gonna do this really quick, I guess. Hey folks, my name is Jen, and today I want to talk to you about a little bit of a book haul. So yeah, I stress bought about 5 books, so it could have been a lot more. I only did 5. This is what I tell myself, that was being responsible-ish. So 3 of these books are actually ones that I've had my eye on for a little while, so let's get into those first. The first of these is Plural and Me. This is by David Suchet, and this is covering his time playing Hercule Poirot in the, I believe it's a BBC show based on Agatha Christie's novels. That's what David Suchet normally looks like. I love this show. I know I've mentioned it before. I absolutely love Poirot. He's my favorite fictional detective of all time. When I found out that this was a thing that existed, I knew that I had to read it. Besides it, you know, being added to my collection of memoirs or autobiographies or biographies about famous people that I'm interested in. It also is talking about, like, one of my favorite shows, so very, very excited to learn more about Mr. Suchet's life and his time playing, like, this fabulous detective. Next book that I got is also nonfiction, and that is Cultish, The Language of Fanaticism, and this is by Amanda Montell. I have heard this talked about quite a bit recently. I think the review that sold me on it was, I believe it was one done by Books Like Whoa. She did a video. I think it was going more in depth talking about deep dives she'd taken into certain looks at cults or things like that, and then she mentioned this book in detail, and it sounded really fascinating. This is covering yeah, the language of fanaticism. What kind of specific language do cults or certain groups that feel a little cult-ish, what kind of ways do they manipulate people through their words and phrases and different things that they do? This sounds absolutely fascinating. My husband's also interested in reading this, which is huge because he doesn't really read a lot of books. So yeah, I'm thinking this is going to be like a super interesting read. The last book that I have had my eye on for a while is The Fall of the Year by Howard Frank Mosher. So I really didn't know much about this book going into it. I just know that I love Howard Frank Mosher's writings, and I really have made it my goal to read everything he's ever written, and this just happened to be next on my list. I don't know that much about it except that it is also taking place in Kingdom County, Vermont, which is like right up against the Canadian border. It's like this fictional town that Mosher created, where all of his very eccentric characters exist, and this sounds like it is described as a autobiographical novel about love in all of its forms, from friendship to the most passionate romance. So I think it's going to feel kind of nostalgic and also very, you know, wonderful, like the rest of his writing with its like impact and beautifully written words. I'm very much looking forward to this. I think I'm going to save it for fall time. It's going to be a great read for then. And the last couple of books I got, I had just recently heard about them. I've been talking about Lloyd Alexander's books a lot more recently, and I had recently decided to look him up because I had only ever heard of the Chronicles of Prydain. I didn't know if he'd ever written anything else, and much to my delight I discovered that he actually wrote a shit ton of books. So I found 2 series that I was interested in, and I got, well, one of them's definitely the first book in the series. One of them, I don't know if it's the first book. I think it might be. One of these is the Illyrian Adventure, and this is following young Vesper Hawley and her guardian. They are basically going off in this adventure to search for this long lost treasure, and they encounter some issues in Illyria where there's like some unrest going on between the current royal family, or maybe just the ruler, and some rebel forces, and her guardian kind of get caught up into that. This looks like there's a couple of different adventure stories, and it sounds like maybe they're, I don't know, I'm kind of getting like vibes of like Brendan Fraser's The Mummy from this, so I'm pretty excited about reading this. And then the other one I wanted to grab is called Westmark, and this is the first in the Westmark trilogy. And this follows young Theo as one choice that he makes gets him caught up in being in trouble with the law and having to team up with some other folks to figure out what the heck is going on. It sounds like there are some people that are basically trying to take away power from their country's king, and so they have to like the people that he teams up with, they have to like try to not only save their own lives from the trouble that they've gotten themselves into, but also try to save their kingdom from being like taken over. It sounds like there might be a coup or something like that being planned, so this sounded like a lot of fun. I was a little nervous about getting this, but seeing as it's like this thick and not like this thick that I was like thinking it was going to be, I'm feeling a lot better about my choice in fantasy novel now. But yeah, this is like the first in a trilogy, so I'm hoping that this is going to be really cool. I'm hoping that both of these are really cool, because I really loved his writing in the Chronicles of Bridane, and yeah, I just wanted to get like 2 different kind of flavors to see if that like charming voice carries over into like some of his other stuff as well. So that is it, folks. These are the books that I recently grabbed. Please let me know if any of these sound interesting to you, if you've read them, if there's any more that are similar to this that you can recommend. And yeah, hope you look forward to hearing my thoughts about these in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!